Hi, this is Sandeep. I teach for the economics department at UB, and I've been here in Singapore for about 7 years on what started off as a one-semester journey. I teach international economics, capital markets, money, and data analysis and econometrics. So it's essentially the whole gamut, and it's been a fun journey just being here, interacting with students who have a much better perspective of international affairs and a much better understanding of mathematics, which is essential if you're studying economics.
My name is Blake Hendrickson. I'm also a professor at the University of Buffalo, and I haven't been here as long as Sandeep. I arrived around 4 years ago, and before coming to Singapore, I did my PhD in Argentina. So I have a background in sort of Latin America and sort of intercultural issues. I also spent a year teaching communication in Ithaca College, which is in this New York State, and they focus a lot on communication studies, mass communication, journalism, theater. And so in Singapore, I'm in charge of many different communication courses. For example, I teach Introduction to Communication, I teach Communication Theory, I teach a business and professional communication class. I do teach mass communication, so some students, when they come, they want to focus on journalism, public relations, and they can do that, but we also do other types of communication. We look at intercultural communication, group communication, network analysis. Lots of students are interested in looking at social media and the effect that computer media communication has on relationships. So students don't just focus on the journalism side, they do lots of in-depth analysis of relationships and how we can look at the human communication process from a scientific perspective. Sandeep, do you do any kinds of introductory classes?
I actually do not. So I teach the core modules in the economics program. But some of them, they are open to other majors, and I do end up getting students from communication and from other departments, and mainly from the business program, who come in and take classes with me. And hopefully, this is something which actually adds a lot of value. The freedom to choose what you want to study as a free elective, to get stuff done. Because I remember when I was a 20-year-old, and most 20-year-olds do not know what they want to study, do not know what they want to do with the rest of their lives. And the freedom which the American education imparts is something which makes it easier for them to decide for themselves what they're good at, where their capabilities lie, and then take the next step forward based on that. So I have had multiple students who decided to pursue courses which were not exactly related to economics. And then you had people who would go into the traditional banking jobs that you would expect for an economics major, but also people who decided to do social service, people who decided to go and work for an airline as an air hostess. And they have been all over the world. So I have students who are in parts of Asia, you have students in Europe, you have students in the US, and they're working for companies as varied as Google and Deloitte and Citi and even Japan Airlines. So, and I have one former student who is currently in Myanmar working for a social group, a social entrepreneur, trying to help people improve their lives in a country which has been ravaged by war for a very, very long time. So that freedom of doing what you want when you want is something which I personally think adds a lot of value to your education.
It's true. One of the advantages of studying at UB and specifically in communication is that they get a very sort of broad perspective on what they can do. So this semester, I even have students coming as guest speakers into my class, alumni, who, it's so great to see them from the beginning progress to the end and then end up going to grad school. For example, I have a student that is in SMU as a law student. I know that we have other law students that have gone to University of Cambridge. I have several students that are working for public relations companies. I have a student that came to my class to talk about LinkedIn because she works for a company that is like LinkedIn specialist. I have a student that's coming from Grab, working in that industry or in the IT industry. So students end up in many different sectors, government sectors. A lot of them work in social services. So we hope that you choose the University of Buffalo, and we see you soon.
Next semester, maybe.
Yeah.